Hey guys, Willem from Blauberg Snake Rescue here. In this video, I'd like to show you a couple of ways in which you can log your sightings if you see a snake or a reptile or any other animal really, in such a way that your sightings can be used by researchers in their studies. I'm going to show you two systems, the ADU Virtual Museum, which is specific to South African data, and then also the iNaturalist website and app. Both of these sites are for citizen scientists, which is people like you and me. Whether we're out hiking, whether we're camping, out walking the dog, or just away on holiday or something. If you see any of these animals that they keep a record of, you can go and log it on the website or in the app, and that data, your sighting data with the location, the photos, time of year, time of day, all that kind of stuff becomes available to researchers for their studies, and this is quite valuable. So let me show you these two systems. The first is the ADU Virtual Museum. This, like I said, is specifically for South African data. And the second is the iNaturalist website and mobile app. This is for worldwide data. I'm going to show you the ADU Virtual Museum first, and then I'll go into a bit of depth on iNaturalist because there's quite a lot that you can do on there. Okay, so back to the virtual museum. The address for this is vmus.adu.org.za, or you can just Google for ADU Virtual Museum. Once you've registered here, you can log in, and after you've logged in, you can then select one of these databases, one of these maps to submit data to it. So let's take, for example, the reptile map over here. Now the first screen it goes to allows me to search, so I can look at other people's records. Let's say, for example, I want to look for scarpstekers. There we go. I can now see a list of records for the species that have been made. And if I go into any of these, I can see some more detail. I can see who the observer was when they created the record. I can see what the identified species was. All of these submissions on both ADU Virtual Museum and on iNaturalist gets voted on by the other users and by the experts. So you can suggest what species you think it is, or you can leave that blank if you're not sure what it is that you saw. And then the experts will take a look and they will actually vote on this and select a final and make a final decision. Okay, so in this case, I can see there was one photo there. I can see a couple of comments left by the expert panel, and they all agreed on what the species here was. So you can look at the data as a list like this, or you can look at it on a map. And by the way, with ADU Virtual Museum, all of the location data is obscured to some degree, so you can't see exactly where these animals were found, which is a good thing because especially with endangered species, you don't want people to be able to see where they're typically found and then go right there and try and catch them to sell them or do anything illegal like that. So let's look at a map for the spotted scarpsteker as well. There we go. I can now see throughout South Africa where the observations were recorded for the species, how many observations were recorded, etc. Okay, but let's take a look at logging your own data. So after you've logged into the ADU Virtual Museum, on the left-hand side, there's a data upload link. You just click on that, and now you need to fill in some information. If anyone else was with you when you made the observation, you can fill their names in here if you'd like. Then you set a year, month, and day for when you saw the animal. You select your country, you select a province, you select a town, and you can narrow it down even further. So let's say in this case it was Big Bay, and then you can give some additional details about the location, elevation, and so on. So you can set the altitude if you have that. If you have GPS coordinates, you can set that. If you don't have GPS coordinates, you can just select Google Map here, and then further down you'll be able to select the location on a map. You can set the accuracy for these coordinates or for your map selection. So let's say it was within 500 meters, for example. Now, this map location and this accuracy that you set, this is only available to the researchers. The public, if they look at the records, they would just be able to see the overview map like I showed you just now. So you don't have to worry about poachers being able to find the animals that you log onto the ADU Virtual Museum. Okay, so down on the map here, okay, let's say, for example, I found this snake right there. So you just click on the map, you drop a marker like that, and then if you scroll down, you click on save, and then on the next screen is going to ask you which database you want to submit this data to. So in this case, it's going to be the reptile map. And then over here, I can select the photos that I took. And so I've got a couple of example photos here that I'm going to use. Let's take that one. And that one, I'm not going to submit this record because I didn't actually see the snake there. But these are just photos from another observation that I had. Okay, scrolling down, I can specify what species I think it was, if I think I know what it was. In this case, I know that it was a herald snake. You can put in the scientific name, you can put in the general name, or if you don't know what it is, you can just leave it empty. And then if you saw multiple animals at the one location, you can add another record here, and another record, etc. Or just scroll down to the bottom, and you click on Submit. And then your data will be posted through to the ADU Virtual Museum. On the left-hand side of the page, if you go to My Records, you will see a list of the records that you've submitted so far. And if you then go into any of these, you will be able to check what the experts said as well. So let's take this one over here for example, this record. It's still identification pending, so the experts haven't looked at this one yet. But if I look at this one over here, it's got a species assigned to it, so the experts actually did do a vote on it and they did specify what it was. And if I go into that, there we go, I can see all the details about this submission now. So that's the ADU Virtual Museum, and you can submit all kinds of animals on here, not just reptiles and snakes. You can do spiders and scorpions and butterflies and all of those. Let's take a look at iNaturalist. Now, what's nice about iNaturalist is it's a bit of a more modern system, so it's got some very nice search features in here, and it also has a mobile app. And most of us have our phones with us most of the time, and you can right from the app take a photo, make a submission, and you're done. It's very, very easy. But this is the iNaturalist website. It's inaturalist.org. If you go here and you just click on the sign up link top right, you'll be able to sign up. I'm going to log in now. Okay, and here I am logged in. It takes me straight to my dashboard, and on here I can see recent comments that people left on my submissions. I can take a look at submissions from people, areas, or types of animals that I'm following, etc. And then there are a couple of options along the top here. I can look at all of my observations. I can look at my observation calendar to see when I saw various things. I can create lists of certain kinds of animals. And I can join projects. So for example, if I go to projects over here, there are a couple of ongoing research projects specifically for snakes and reptiles. And so these are the ones that I've joined. Herps of Southern Africa, AfriHerps, Habitat South Africa, and so on. Okay, back to the dashboard over here. I can now add an observation by clicking on the Add Observations button on the right-hand side here. And then I can drag and drop a couple of photos. And now I just fill in the details for each of these photos individually, or if it's all the same observation, I can just fill it in on the left-hand side. So again, you can fill in the scientific name or the general name, or if you don't know what it was, you can just leave it empty, and the experts will take a look and they will try and identify it. So let's say I saw this today. I can again use a map to set the location, and I can then decide on here whether the location should be public. In other words, whether everyone who uses iNaturalist should be able to see where I made this observation, whether it should be obscured, which means it's going to be randomized within a couple of kilometers of where it was actually seen, except for the projects that you're involved in. The researchers on the projects can still see the exact locations. The public, other iNaturalist users, they just won't be able to see the exact location. They will see a rough location. Or you can set it to fully private, which means just you can see it, no one else. iNaturalist is quite smart about automatically obfuscating the location for endangered species anyway, so you don't have to worry too much about someone using the system to see where you found an endangered species and then trying to poach them. But if it makes you feel better, you can set these records to obscured. There still are value to the people who run the projects. Okay, then you can add a couple of tags here. I can select which projects I want to add this observation to, and so on. And then once I'm done, on the right hand side, I just click on Submit Observations. Now that's how you would log an observation on the web, but I actually want to show you how to do this on the phone, because like I said, most of us, we have our phones with us all the time. Our phones all have cameras, and if you have the iNaturalist app on your phone, that's actually the easiest way to log these kinds of things. So let's switch over to the phone quickly. Okay, so here I am in the iNaturalist app on my phone, and looking at the map here, I can see data that people have submitted. Let's take a look at this one over here, for example. Okay, so that was a skink that someone submitted over there. Okay, so inside of the iNaturalist app, you just switch over to Observe, and then you can either take the photo right here, or you can select the photo from your camera roll. I've now selected these two photos, and I tap on Next. Then I can specify what the species was if I know what it was. If you don't know what it was, you can just leave this empty. In this case, let's say this was a mole snake. I set a date and time for when I made the observation. Then set a location. And you can just zoom the map and then leave the crosshair at the location. You can also switch to a standard map if that helps. I quite like the hybrid one, which is a satellite with roads overlaid on it. Tap on Save. I can then decide whether this observation should be open, obscured, or private. And like I said, obscured means that the public won't be able to see exactly where you found this animal. The system will show it within a random radius from where you actually found it, within a couple of kilometers. And people who run the projects that you submit this observation to, they will be able to see the exact location. Or if you set it to private, no one would be able to see the exact location. And then next, I can specify which projects I want to submit this to. So let's say I want to submit it to that one over there and that one over there. And then I just tap on Share at the bottom of the screen. And this will be sent through, and usually within a couple of minutes, the experts will also take a look at it, and they'll start submitting their suggestions for what the species was. And then as the submissions come in, you will see people's comments here on the record. So I can see here the entire history. I can also ask questions, leave comments, see questions other people asked me about this observation, and it's as easy as that. Once you've submitted your data like this, you're done. Okay, and then back on the iNaturalist website, just one more thing I want to show you. You don't just have to submit observations, you can also help vote on the species for observations. And if you're trying to learn about specific kinds of animals like snakes and improve your ID skills, this is actually a good way to do it. Don't guess, but if you feel confident you've identified something correctly, submit your identification and see if the experts agree with you. So back on the iNaturalist website, you can just click over here on Observations, Identify, and then you can fill in a couple of the search fields here to narrow it down. So let's say I want to see just snakes, South Africa. There we go. It's now showing me all of the snake records within South Africa that still need to be identified. And so if I open up one of these, I can now see who made the observation, when they made the observation, where it was. I can see any photos they submitted. And if I scroll down, I can see two people already have said that this animal belongs within the thread snake family. There's no specific species yet. It looks like because the area wasn't specified correctly. But nevertheless, you can then agree with one of these guys. If you're sure, you think that's what it is, you just click on the agree button over here, or you can make your own identification right at the bottom. You can suggest an identification, fill in the species name, give a reason, and submit it. And by doing this, you're helping the researchers build up the database, and it's a little bit of citizen science. It's giving back a little bit, and possibly helping with the conservation of these animals down the line as well. Thanks guys. If you have any questions about what I showed you in this video, leave a comment below and I will try and answer as best as I can.